Hello my lovelies, I hope you're doing well. So for today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of a book haul. So these aren't books that I just purchased all at once. I have actually purchased them a little bit over time, but they're books I haven't gone to yet that I've sort of recently, or in the last couple months, purchased. So let's get right into the video. So for the first book, I'm going to be talking about The Priory of the Orange Tree. So I got this one honestly a little bit ago. Technically it's probably not the most recent of buys, but I still haven't really delved into it yet. It's got a little Polaroid here as a bookmark because everything is a bookmark when you're a reader. And I'd wanted to get it for ages because it had been so hyped on BookTube and Bookstagram and all of those, and I just thought I just have to get it because it sounds totally up my alley. I'll read the blurb for you. So it basically is: a world divided, a queendom without an heir, an ancient enemy awakens. And that's literally it. So it just gets you straight from the fact that the blurb is literally just 3 sentences and it's like, oh, we don't need anything else because it's such a good book. I love anything that involves dragons and mythical creatures and things like that. So totally up my alley. It's a little bit of a heifer of a book. It's pretty big, but it's so beautiful. It's got like the sparkling dragon on the front. The cover is just beautiful. So it just pulls you in just because of that anyway. So I have sort of started it a little bit, really just working my way through it because I feel like when you have such hefty books like this, it sometimes takes a little bit to get into it because there's a lot of world building and there's a lot of stuff you need to know about the world before anything happens and before you kind of really properly connect to characters and things. So it's just more so at the moment about me getting through understanding the world and all of those sort of aspects of the book. So I'm really excited for this one. So the next recent purchase that I made was the first book of the Rosie Project. I believe there's 3 books in the series, but I just got the first one, wanted to read the first one. If I loved it, I'll get the rest. I prefer not to kind of get all the books in the series. Obviously, I'm pretty sure most people do the same thing, but yeah, if I don't like the first one, then there's no point in me getting the rest of them. So for this one, I definitely heard a couple of reviews about it on BookTube, but the main recommendation that made me buy it was from it's a Shameless side podcast. So the Shameless podcast is a podcast on Spotify, and they have a side podcast which is Shameless Presents the Books That Changed My Life. And it's all of these people, creatives and all different types of people talking about the books that changed their lives. And it's a really great podcast. It's on Listener. If you want to go check it out, it's really great. And this is like just completely off the cuff my recommendation. I've been listening to the Shameless podcast itself for like ever since it started basically, and I absolutely love it. So yeah, Zara and Mish, the 2 girls that are the co-founders of the Zara and Mish, the 2 co-founders of the podcast, are just great, and it's perfect. It's their main. Zara and Mish are the 2 co-founders of the podcast, and it's basically pop culture, and they're just talking about it and being shameless about it, and it's just, yeah, their whole sort of Zara and Mish are the co-founders of Shameless, and they basically talk about everything pop culture, and they talk about it sometimes in a really analytical way, and it's really, really interesting. And their recommendations are really great as well. If you ever need a book or a podcast or something to watch or anything like that, they have that. And one of their fans actually wrote a spreadsheet of all the recommendations that they've ever recommended, which is amazing. And you can just pop it into Google Sheets and there you go, you've got recommendations for ages. So back to the book. So back to the book. So the episode I was listening to was an episode with Jamila Rizvi. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, I apologize. But it was a really in-depth, beautiful sort of, but it was a really great podcast episode, and she was an amazing guest. And she battled with a brain tumor for a really long time. I think there's still a chance it could come back at certain times. I think maybe she's had 2 operations for it now. I can't be completely sure. But while she was battling with the brain tumor, they asked her what was a book that got her through the times when she was just about to go, the bad times, and when she was just about to go into surgery when she wasn't sure she was going to make it out. And she said, The Rosie Project. And she said it was just such a beautiful story. She said the main character is just someone that she completely could relate to in certain ways, and it was just something that she could read and she could escape what she was actually feeling at the time. And it was a really great story to and it was a really great series to just completely delve into and immerse herself in. So I think that definitely got me. As soon as I sort of heard that recommendation, I was like, that's it, I'm going to buy this one. This is being read. So excited to read this one as well. I'll read the blurb for you as well. So it is, Don Tillman is getting married. He doesn't know how... Don Tillman is getting married. He doesn't know who to yet. The Wife Project will solve that problem. He has designed a 16-page questionnaire to help him find the perfect partner. She will most definitely not be a barmaid, a smoker, a drinker, or a late arriver. Rosie Jarman is all these things. She is also fiery and intelligent and beautiful and on a quest of her own to find her biological father, a search that Don, a professor of genetics, just might be able to help her with. The Wife Project teaches Don some unexpected things. Why earlobe length is an inadequate predictor of sexual attraction, why ice cream tastes different in New York, why he's never been on a second date, and why despite the most scientific efforts, you don't find love, love finds you. So even just from that blurb, it just absolutely gets me and catches me in. So I'm really, really excited for this one. So the next book I'm going to talk about, I actually technically did not buy. It was actually a part of a book exchange. So I was on Instagram and a friend that I knew from high school posted that she was doing this book exchange, and if you let her know you were in, then she would give you an address to send a book, and then you would give your address to anyone who responded to the story that you put up. And I thought, I see all these all the time, they're kind of pyramid schemey and maybe it won't work, but I thought, if it doesn't work, at least I get to send a book to someone and they get to have the joy of reading a book that I love. So I sent away Girl, Woman, Other, which is one of my favorite books, to the girl who I was exchanging to the girl who I was doing the book exchange with. And then all of a sudden, a couple days later, this arrived. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't order anything. My boyfriend came in and was like, did you order something? And I was like, no, I think it might be the book exchange. So I opened it up and there was this beautiful letter in there, and it said, So I opened it up and there was this beautiful letter in there, and it basically said, I read this and it made me absolutely sob, and this is part of the book exchange. And it was just so exciting, and it was so beautiful that someone actually did it. It was the only book I got with the book exchange, but that was more than I was expecting. So I'm so excited. And I know Colleen Hoover has another book, Ends With Us, that I've seen all over BookTube and things like that. So I'm excited to read one of her books at least. I think she's got a bunch. But yeah, it was just such a beautiful concept. And I know there's a few people out there who will have gotten books from myself and from my family and things like that because they decided to be part of the book exchange. But yeah, to me it was just, if I don't get a book, at least someone else gets a book. So this was the book I got. It's called All Your Perfects. This is the book I got. It's called All Your Perfects, and it's by Colleen Hoover. And just the fact that the person who got me the book said that they were absolutely sobbing makes me really excited that hopefully it'll be really riveting. And she also said she couldn't put it down. And they also said they couldn't put it down. So that makes me really excited as well. I'll read the cover for you too. I'll read the blurb for that one as well. Can a love story with a perfect beginning survive a lifetime between two imperfect people? Then, the last thing Quinn expected was to meet the love of her life just outside her fiancé's front door. A year after Then, the last thing Quinn expected was to meet the love of her life just outside her fiancé's front door. A year after leaving her cheating partners, Quinn and Graham are in a perfect relationship that seems destined by fate. Now, 7 years later, their perfect love is threatened by their imperfect marriage. The memories, mistakes, and dreams that they have built up over the years are tearing them apart. The one thing that could save them might also be the very thing that pushes their marriage past the point of no return. Written with the same emotional depth and keen insight that made Colleen Hoover's Ends With Us, there you go, and Ugly Love, instant New York Times bestsellers, All You're Perfect is a powerful, moving story about a broken couple whose future hinges on promises made in the past, reminding us that the enduring power of love is the ultimate savior. So that whole premise just seems really, really interesting. And I haven't really had a tearjerker of a story in a while, so I'm really excited to read one that might actually sort of bring those emotions out and just give me a bit of a cry. So, and who doesn't love a little bit of a love story? So I'm really excited to read this one. And yes, that book exchange idea was really beautiful. Even if you just do a book exchange with your friends where you all get each other a book, you can have a spending limit, or even if you just exchange a book that you guys already have, like, it's such a good idea. And it's even just exchanging a book that you guys already have, it means that you're not buying more books, and that's good for the environment, even though I buy books all the time, so I can't really speak, but still, such a great idea. So for my next book, it's To Paradise by Hanya Yaganahara, which I hope I said that right. And if I didn't, I also apologize. I was so excited. As soon as I saw that this had come out, I was just like, I have to get it straight away. I do not care how much it costs. It is mine. It is by the author of A Little Life, which I've already read and I've already reviewed. It's in my best books of 2021. So if you really want to see that, then you can have a look at that, go over and check that out. But I absolutely love that book. It was harrowing and triggering, and it was really intense, but it was just an amazing. It was harrowing and triggering and so intense, but it was just an amazing story. So as soon as this was coming out, I knew I had to pick it up. It may be a long haul, as it's also a very thick boy, but I just could not pick it up. It's such a beautiful cover, just so simplistic and stunning. And I'm so excited. I did not even know what this story was about. I didn't even go and try and find a blurb. I just went, yep, I'm getting that. So let's together read the blurb. In an alternate version of 1893 America, New York is part of the free states where people may live and love whomever they please, or so it seems. The fragile young scion of a discontinued family resists The fragile young scion of a distinguished family resists betrothal to a worthy suitor, drawn to a charming music teacher of no means. In a 1993 Manhattan besieged by the AIDS epidemic, a young Hawaiian man lives with his much older, wealthier partner, hiding his troubled childhood and the fate of his father. And in 2093, in a world riven by plagues and governed by totalitarian rule, a powerful scientist's damaged granddaughter tries to navigate life without him and solve the mystery of her husband's disappearance. These three sections are joined in an enthralling and ingenious symphony as recurring notes and themes deepen and enrich one another. A townhouse in Washington Square Park in New York's Greenwich Village, illness and treatments that come at a terrible cost, wealth and squalor, the weak and the strong, race, the definition of family and of nationhood, the dangerous righteousness of the powerful and of revolutionaries, the longing to find a fair place in an earthly paradise, and the gradual realization that it cannot exist. What unites not just the characters but these Americas are their reckonings with the qualities that make us human: fear, love, shame, need, loneliness. To paradise is a fundus. Oh, that is not something I know how to pronounce. Fundusicler. I completely botched that. If someone knows how to pronounce that, let me know down below. But unfortunately, I don't. So, is a novel of marvelous literary effect, but above all is a work of emotional genius. The great power of this remarkable novel is driven by Yanagihara's understanding of the aching desire to protect those we love, partners, lovers, children, friends, family, and even our fellow citizens, and the pain that ensues when we cannot. It sounds so completely epic. It seems like it covers so much even though it's a big book, it covers so much in one book. So I'm really, really excited. I think it'll be really, really interesting read, and maybe it'll be thought-provoking, and there might be some real deepness to it. So I'm really, really excited for this one. So for the next two books, I went to a bookstore recently and I wasn't really sure what I was after. I think I was after a couple books that they didn't have in the store at the time, and because of everything with COVID and things like that, there's actually not that much stock and it's really hard to get the new books in and things like that. So haven't been able to get those ones. I can't exactly remember which ones they were now, but ended up just sort of having a peruse, looking around. I love just walking through a bookstore and seeing what catches my eye. And I thought, I haven't read any sort of thrillers or mysteries in a while, so I bought two. So for the first one, it is The Silent Patient, which is another book, sensing a theme here, I know, that is quite big on BookTube and Bookstagram, and everyone says it's amazing and it has this crazy twist at the end, and it's just such a page turner and you'll absolutely blitz through it. So I thought, it's not too big, seeing as though I do have quite a few at the moment that are really, really big ones, and I'm just really excited to get into it. I've heard about it for such a long time and just haven't gotten it yet. So here is the blurb. Alicia Berenson lived a seemingly perfect life until one day 6 years ago when she shot her husband in the head 5 times. Since then, she hasn't spoken a single word. It's time to find out why. Again, another really short blurb, but absolutely draws you in, and you don't even need more to want to read the novel. It just captures you. So I'm really excited for a bit of a mystery, a bit of a thriller maybe, and I hope I really, really like it, as so many other people have. I'm trying not to go into it with too many hopes and too many preconceived notions of believing that it'll be really good, because I think sometimes you can let yourself down when you go in thinking that it's going to be really, really great. So I'm just going in hoping for the best. So the next sort of crimey thriller mystery novel is The Cuckoo's Calling. Robert Galbraith. So the next sort of crime mystery thriller is by Robert Galbraith, So the next sort of crime mystery thriller is by Robert Galbraith, and it is The Cuckoo's Calling, and it's a strike novel. I believe he has a strike series. I don't know fully whether they are connecting books that you need to read in order or whether you can sort of read them out of order and it doesn't really matter. But I know there was a box set there which had all of the strike novels, and they were kind of in an order, but I didn't catch whether you had to read them in order, which is kind of really exciting. I'm hoping I really enjoy this one because then I can continue to read the strike novels. But the cover absolutely caught my eye. It's really, really beautiful and it's really intriguing as well. And I just sort of saw it. It was there in sort of the mystery section in the best sellers in the mystery section. In the bestsellers of the mystery section, and I thought, you know what, let's go for something that I haven't even heard of, because a lot of the time you get all these hypes because a lot of the time you get all this hype over all these novels, and then sometimes it's just hype for hype's sake, or it is a good book, but there's so many good books out there that just don't actually get onto the Bookstagram sphere or the BookTok or the Bookstagram or BookTube or all of those sort of spheres that are really, really great books that just don't get the light of day. So I thought, you know what, let's do it. Let's read something that I haven't heard of before. So I read the blurb, which is: when a troubled model falls to her death from a Mayfair balcony, it is assumed that she has committed suicide. However, her brother has his doubts and calls in private detective Cormoran Strike to investigate. Strike is a war veteran, wounded both physically and psychologically, and his private life is in disarray. The case gives him a financial lifeline, but it comes at a personal cost. The more he delves into the young model's world, the darker things become, and the closer he gets to terrible danger. Published to huge acclaim from readers, reviewers and writers, The Cuckoo's Calling was later revealed to have been written by J.K. Rowling under the Robert Galbraith pseudonym. A compulsively readable crime novel, it is the first in a series featuring the private detective Cormoran Strike. Oh my god! I did not read that bit! I didn't realise that it was written by J.K. Rowling. And yes, I know there's a lot of controversy around J.K. Rowling, and maybe if I'd known that it was ghostwritten by J.K. Rowling, then I might not have picked it up, but I really struggle with where I stand with that, because I really, really love J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter, and I always have. There's a wand up there, there's literally a picture of me riding a broom from when I was at Harry Potter World in London, and I think personally, to me, we can separate the stories from the writer, and I think you can like the books and enjoy the books without supporting the writer. And yes, obviously by me buying this book, it is technically supporting J.K. Rowling, although as I said, I wasn't aware that it was written by J.K. Rowling. But yes, in my mind, that you can separate them, but I do understand how it can be But I do understand how through her comments about trans people and the trans community, she has really hurt a whole section of our society. And obviously that's not something that I agree with and support, but I will still read this novel and tell you my thoughts and feelings about it. But yes, that's sort of my thoughts on that. I won't really go too into depth on that anymore. As I said, I wasn't really aware that that was the case, but still, but still, I hope I do enjoy the novel. And as I said, Jaco rolling. Yeah, so after reading that and literally finding it out on camera, has kind of brought up some mixed feelings about reading this book for me, but still I do kind of hope that I can read it and enjoy it. But yes, that's where I stand with that. But yeah, that is the last book that I bought for my book haul. I hope you really enjoyed this. I hope maybe one of those books you're picking up as well for the first time. If you've already read some of the books that I've mentioned, please comment down below and let me know what your thoughts and feelings were about them. And please like and subscribe. That would really help me. And please like and subscribe. That would really help me, and I would love to feel the love from you guys and send out all of my love to you as well. And so for today, that is all for now, but not forever. Thank you so much, my beautiful bookworms.